Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing another Witchy Chat, catch up, favorites, things I'm doing in my craft right now. So with that, let's go ahead and dive right in. So I wanted to share with you first something I've been having a lot of fun with lately, and that is I've been feeling very inspired to work with the alchemical symbols. So I have this artwork from the Witch's Moon. And what I've been doing with them is basically, so like in my journal, if I'm documenting, say, today's date and the weather and what moon phase it is, what sign the moon is in, and what element that sign represents, then what I'll do is I'll, use these symbols for month, day, year, hour, the astrology symbols and the elemental symbols, and anything that I have written down that has an associated alchemical symbol, then I've been writing that underneath it in my journal just for fun to get more used to knowing all the different symbols without having to look them up, basically. So that's kind of a big thing I've noticed this year in my practice already, just couple months into the year, is that I've got a big push to learn things to a level where a lot of things that I've kind of taken advantage of the fact that I have resource materials that I can just look it up when I need it, to actually know the information without having to look it up. So I mean, yes, of course there's a lot of correspondence and things that over time you develop and recognize what your own correspondence are, and you know that. But for example, there are certain things that have set meanings or symbols and things like that, and so I'm really working on knowing the information without needing to look it up. Couple of fun favorite things right off is one of my sisters got me this cute pen holder. It has this little tree on top. I am loving this thing, so I use this. It's got it right next to my Book of Shadows that I use daily, so that's a lot of fun. The hutch behind me, another one of my sisters brought that to me over the holidays, and I am loving it. It is just absolutely perfect for me, and the space that I have and the size and everything, it's perfect. I'm loving it. Let's see, what else do I have for some favorites? Let's see. I decided to read a fiction book this year. So as a lot of you guys know, I decided to read a lot less books this year than I have in the past. I may still end up reading a ton just because it's what I do, but I'm trying to read specifically 12 books this year and trying to be very specific in my choices and what I read. And so I decided, it's been about 5 years since I read a fiction book, and so I wanted to read a fiction book. Since I've been getting into the alchemical symbols a lot lately, I thought it would be fun to read The Alchemist. So I don't have a copy of that book here because I am reading it in audio format, but it's a lot of fun so far. It's a great book. I heard a lot of good things about it, and it's a good fiction book. Nice story. Next, let's see, what else am I reading? Okay, so I started reading this book, How to Do Readings Through Touch, so basically psychometry. And what happened is usually around my birthday, I get a reading or two from a couple of different readers that I really like. And both of them separately, independently mentioned that I should work on psychometry, that it's something that would come very naturally and easily to me. And they both read very, very different astrology versus, tarot and stuff like that. So I decided to pick up this book. I am absolutely loving this book. And it really makes sense to me because it's my understanding that psychometry is kind of tapped right in there with clairsentience, which I am very clairsentient and empathic as well. So I'm also finding I really like this author, Ted Andrews. I've read a couple of his other books, and so I think I might look into some more of his books in the future because all the information has been super helpful in those books. The other thing that I've been reading and absolutely loving is, oh, my bookmark's falling out. The Big Book of Candle Magic by Jackie Smith. I just really like her unique style. She's got this whole method that she's developed using different, I think there's like 5 key areas in life, love, work. I don't remember what they are off the top of my head, but then she's associated different colors as associated with those areas of life, and she just got this whole method in here, and I'm maybe a fourth of the way through, so I still got quite a bit of ways to go, but I've thumbed through it too and looked at some of her correspondences in the back, and I'm absolutely loving it. If you're looking to deepen your candle magic practice, I highly recommend this book. It has been fantastic. So through probably January, February, maybe beginning of February, in January, I really started doing a lot more candle magic than I have in a while. I love candle magic, always have, but since we adopted our kitties about 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago now, I have one that just bounces off the walls. So unless you're in a closed room where she's not in there, you pretty much can't burn a candle because she will find the flame, let's just say that. But another favorite that I have found are these little lanterns that you can buy and put the candle inside. So even if I'm, you know, just sitting in the room and she has access to it, and I have a shelf that I don't think she can get to, but I would still put a candle in there so that I know that it's safe if she jumped up on it, and I'm absolutely loving it. I think this one I actually got just from Amazon. Not that I love buying a lot of things from Amazon, but it's pretty much the option I have where I live. What else candle wise? So in one of my previous subscription boxes, because I know last year I did a lot of subscription boxes, I had subscribed to Archer and Olive and got one of their quarterly boxes. I'm actually going to have another one coming this month, because when I put my subscription on pause at the end of last year, I didn't realize it was only on pause for the next box. So turns out I'll be getting one this month. So you guys can look forward to that video. But in one of their boxes, I got these acrylograph pens, right? They're basically acrylic paint pens. And I really love them for writing on like vigil candles, on the glass encased candles, to put symbols and sigils and different things on there. But they're a little pricey. So I thought, I did some digging around and found these on Amazon as well, multi-surface. And it's basically every color you could possibly want. So in addition to using just your regular candle magic stuff, when you're using a glass encased candle, oftentimes I would use a Sharpie or something on the outside of the glass to write my words or my symbols. I'm finding I love these paint pens so much more. I'm loving them so much. Having the diversity of color and just, there's just something about them. Absolutely loving it. Let me see. Do I have any more books, book related? So when I recently did my Witchy bookshelf tour, I came across these books that I had from Christopher Penczak, and I was flipping through one of them just for fun, just to kind of look at it, because I've had them on my shelf for a while, but I haven't read them. And this is his second book, The Outer Temple of Witchcraft, and in the back I came across a quiz to kind of test your knowledge of what you know, and I thought, how fun, I'm going to read through this and see, you know, what I can answer. And in this self-test, and most of the things I was able to answer. There's a couple things that are specific to Wicca, like explain the Wiccan reed. Well, I mean, I'm not Wiccan, and I don't use the Wiccan reed, so I don't know that, but there was a question in here that turned out to me to be very profound, and I wasn't expecting it to be. And that was actually, it's 2 questions. So it says, what is your favorite element and why? And what is your least favorite element and why? And so when I read that first question, what is your favorite element? Instantly I was like, oh, fire. I love fire. I mean, I'm such a heavy fire sign in every freaking astrology system you can find out there. But then it said why, and I was like, well, wait a second. Okay, if I gotta put some thought into this, really, I do love working with fire energy, fire symbolism, everything, and the element. But if I put some deeper thought into it as to what my favorite element was and why, the answer kind of surprised me, and that is water. And that would be because it's very much representative of deep connection, and it just, I really, to me, that is one of the most important things, is what the water element represents. I think when you're working with things like fire energy, and it's a lot of fun and it's a lot of power and you're throwing it out there, really to be effective, you've got to have, at least for me, the other elements really balanced and stable to be effective with your work with fire magic. And for me, connection has been so big lately, and to me it's really a water element sign. So even if I'm connecting to the earth element, or I'm connecting to the air element, connecting to the other elements as well, that connection comes through having a solid foundation in the water element. And then what made it even more profound was then reading the second question, determining what is your least favorite element and why. And that one is absolutely water. So my favorite element and my least favorite element is the same. And why would be because it is the most challenging element for me to work with, is water. It has been the hardest one for me to learn and balance and really get a hang of, but it is also one that I have the most power in. So I'm very much a fire sign, but my next strongest element in all my charts is water. So that doesn't really surprise me, because the balance between water and fire, just the transformative energy, the alchemy in it is just very much my nature and my practice, and really shows heavily in my own personal spiritual practice and magic as well. So I just thought that was kind of fun, reading through those questions, and those popped up, and it really turned into like this deep, spiritual and self-knowing and a little bit of information, which I thought was kind of fun. So that was neat. Let's see, what else do I have? So books, last book I have is, so recently, as you all know, I've been working on Grimoire pages. So I've been kind of struggling. I've got with what to put out next, because I've got quite a bit of information, and I'm really torn between 3 different things that I want to put out next on my Grimoire pages. And so one of the things that I wanted to start looking into more was compiling all my information on the SBATs, or celebrating the full moon, because that is something I did initially when I first started practicing, was observing the moon phases, and a lot of work around what phase the moon was in, and working specifically with full moon every month. So when I was digging for deeper, more information, so that's kind of the way I do it. I go through all of my notes and my personal experience, and then I look at all the books I have on my shelf, and I dig deeper online in all my resources to make sure that, not only am I putting forward on these pages the information that I know and have experienced, but I'm also growing and developing more in the process of doing this, to really make sure that the knowledge that I know and have is well-rounded and, backed up and stuff. So in review of the SBATs, I came across this book that I have, right? This is the book that I have and have used in the past. And it's really excellent. It's got more than just full moon stuff in here. It has deity celebration days and the names of the full moons, but it also has like some recipes and stuff on different deities for the different phases of the moon. And for my purposes, for specifically full moon celebrations, trying to find a page that has it. Here we go. I was looking for, you know, the correspondence. I don't know if you guys can see that, of the full moons. So I've been playing with the idea of maybe doing a monthly altar that was just based around the full moon and the full moon energy as well. And so I was looking at the different correspondences. And then as I was digging deeper online, I found out that 90% of everything I could find was literally someone has taken the information out of this specific book and it is verbatim, like exactly what she has here. So, you know, that's a little disappointing, but it's very common to see online. You know, people use what they have to create stuff, but, you know, it was surprising to me that this one book, which I've never seen mentioned anywhere online, I came across it because I love this author. So as soon as I saw this book, I just grabbed it up at a, I don't know, I think it might have even been a Renaissance fair or something that I grabbed it. But it's an excellent book. It's got a lot of really good, helpful information, and it seems that every resource I found online is basically copying information out of this book. There are a few other people out there that are putting some information out on, say, Etsy. They've got their own stuff that looks like their own personal correspondences for the month. But I would be curious to know if anybody else has any good books they know on SBATs or full moon correspondence and celebrations. Then I would love to read them, because I always like having more than one resource to go along with my own personal experiences and such. But that's the last book I have for you all. Let's go on to decks. So for January, actually let's go with what I've been using by my nightstand. So since the beginning of the year, I've been using this deck, Tarot of Mystical Moments, and I will go ahead and show you guys some of the cards as I'm talking about it. But I have to say, I honestly have had a really hard time connecting with this deck. I thought that I was going to absolutely connect with it instantly. The artwork is gorgeous. It's got these beautiful silver sides, nice reversible backs. I very much like these busy, artsy decks, because while I have a basic understanding of all the tarot cards, or most of them, you know, without having to look them up, I'm very much an intuitive reader. So, so the artwork is helpful in the reading, because it gives me a lot of different things to basically intuitively pull from each card. And these cards are gorgeous, but sorry, they're a little glossy too, so I'm trying to make them not glare for you all. So I've had kind of a hard time connecting with it, but I've been using it in my nightstand at night before I go to bed, and I usually will ask something like, you know, depending on what I need that day, I may ask a question like, what is something positive to reflect on that I experienced for the day, you know, to kind of bring me in remembrance of that, or something that my subconscious mind maybe needs to bring to my conscious mind while I'm sleeping and dreaming, because I do a lot of dream work. So I find sometimes if I specifically pull a card to trigger my subconscious mind of what to bring forward intuitively, it's really, really helpful. I like doing that. So as I've been using it for a couple months now, I'm finding I'm liking the deck a bit more. I mean, the artwork is gorgeous. It seems to be working okay for that purpose. Maybe I'll find another good use for it, different types of readings, but there's that deck that I've been using. And then for the month of January mostly, I received this deck over the holidays, Sacred Rebels Oracle by Alana Fairchild. And I was excited to receive this deck because I have one of her other, I think it's the White Light Oracle over there that I use a lot for my own personal practice for something very positive at the end of a, you know, spiritual session where I've been meditating or journaling or something like that. I really like her other deck. So let me pull these out here. And these are just gorgeous as well. And I'm finding that I really love this deck. It's beautiful. The artwork's great. The symbolism that I found really I connect to well with the questions that I'm asking. Usually I was using these for kind of like a daily pull. So if I wake up in the morning and I'm getting ready to start my day and I want to pull a card of the day or you know, something to look forward to for the day, then these have been really beautiful cards. I worked a lot with those in January. I will say, just in case it matters to anyone, there is some nudity in this deck. It doesn't bother me, but I know some people do, so try not to show it on the screen because I don't know what the rules are for that on YouTube. But again, it's stunning. It's a gorgeous deck. I love it. All right, so the other deck that I used a lot in January, so I found in January I used more Oracle cards than I did Tarot, actually. I think that's kind of the case for me in January's. January's seem to be kind of busy and overwhelming, and the Oracle cards are a bit more inspiring to me, keep me positive and motivated. Oh, did I even show it to you? The other deck is Celtic Spirit Oracle. One of my sisters got this for me for my birthday, I believe this last year in November, and it is a stunning deck. I love this deck. Let me go ahead and show you some of the cards. They are beautiful. Tree Spirit. So they have the card numbers on them, and then they have a main keyword on there, and then underneath the main keyword there are 3 more keywords, and the cards are just beautiful. The symbolism is gorgeous. I really like the keywords on them as well. So I really enjoyed working with that deck a lot during January. Now for February, and what I'm more towards probably about a week into February, I switched over to using these 2 decks a lot. And that is a standard Rider-Waite-Smith and the Mystic Shaman Oracle cards by Colette Baron-Reid and Alberto Villaldo and Marcela Lobos. And then we have this one here. So we'll do the Oracle deck first. This one is really another gorgeous deck. Really been loving the Oracle decks lately. Beautiful, beautiful pictures. Again, these are kind of busy Oracle decks. Like I said, I tend to like that. Not everybody loves that, but it works well for me because I'm very much an intuitive reader right now. I'll show you one more. This card is stunning. It is beautiful. Love it. So that's the deck I've been using this month. Still using it. Haven't switched over to anything new for March yet. So that was mostly February. And then recently I grabbed this Rider-Waite-Smith, which is a borderless edition, and it's beautiful. I don't have very many decks that are just your traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, and I found myself gravitating to this because as I find myself this year really digging into, like I said, learning things to the point where I don't need to use my reference books to look them up, I found that I'm really wanting to dig into the tarot and learn more the deeper meanings of each of the cards and know them. So like I said earlier, I have a very basic understanding. Like I could pull one of these cards, you know, and have a basic understanding of what the cards are. But I primarily read intuitively. But I would really like and have a desire to be able to pull a card and understand what all the little symbols are, their original meanings and what they represent, and the colors used on the card, what they represent, and, you know, more than just a few keywords and basic meanings of the cards. So I'm really looking forward to digging into that a little bit more this year to really supplement my reading style. So I am very much an intuitive reader. I don't think that that's going to go away. Just a very intuitive practice that I have in everything. So, but yeah, I think it's highly beneficial to learn and understand things from every angle. And so that's what I'm doing with these. Let's see, I'm trying to think if I missed anything. Let me just check I wrote some notes down so I didn't miss anything. I don't think so. I think that's all I have for you guys today. I mean, that's pretty much where I'm at. Right now, all my favorite things are kind of blending in naturally with the things that I'm working on in my practice, doing a lot more candle magic than I have in a while. Really digging deep into symbolism and learning and knowing the information that I use on a regular basis to the point that I don't have to, you know, use my resources as much. So that is really where I'm at right now. So I'd love to know where you guys are at. What are you doing? What are your favorites right now? What are you working on? If you have anything you'd like or want to share, please feel free to do that down in the comments. I do encourage that. I love hearing from everybody. It's very free-form too down in my comments. So, you know, if you have something you want to say, as long as it's being positive and, or, you know, not oppositional to other people down in the comments, please feel free to do so. And I hope you all enjoy the video. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.